going to be X7 match point in favor of them going to finals for NLC, climbing the mountain, facing Dusty on the best of 5 this Saturday to reclaim the throne of NLC Spring Split into Summer Split, and not only that, get that sweet spot on the main stage of Amazon European Masters. So before we advance to this one, it seems like X7 is almost unbeatable. I don't know if you have the percentage from the Twitch chat. I would say that it's 90% to 10. Is there anything JDXL can do right now?
Well, they've shown 2 very different approaches, and actually they're going to... Wait, no, that... Oh, okay. No, we're moving up from
it's
that.
Going for
close enough.
Let's go.
Okay, they're I would say 90 at this point.
It's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close to it. But, I mean, XL have tried to do 2 very different things. I feel like they need to just stop putting emphasis, and it's going to be very difficult for them because it's where they found a lot of success. I feel like they need to just draft towards better late game team fighting, because it feels like they've had an emphasis on having to do too much early. Now, I think that in this split, they've had a lot of success doing that, but it is not working versus X7 right now. You see what happens when Viking has an early game answer to them. You can see what happens when they have late game answers to them too. I think XL need to just set up shop a little bit and just say, okay, we're going to be safe, and let's play towards those team fights later on.
And I think it's, I think it's just a really valid point that you bring up, Namir. We talked about as well how I feel like it's super strange that they came into today's draft just completely ignoring the Severe. I thought we were going to see so many handshakes, like the Seri and the Severe, maybe the Jarvan and the Vi, stuff like this. But we haven't seen any priority from JDXL on the Severe at all. And I'm just really surprised to see this. We saw Neon yesterday after his, before his tiebreaker, rather, saying that Seri and Severe, they are for sure like the 2 of the most broken champions in this patch, and they do kind of similar things, so you can kind of play both sides of the matchup, but you get to scale for free on both sides. And I'm just really surprised to see that Venser doesn't want to pick it up at all.
It's interesting, so far, ever since Spring Split, that X7 has been Achilles' heel from JDXL. Every single time they face up, no matter how good JDXL is, X7 is 1 step above. And this is do or die for them, so M-Test. This is almost, this could be it. This could be it. There's the button. Okay, with strength, do it! There you go. Let's go into what could possibly be the last game of the day of the lower bracket of playoffs, Summer Split NLC. Red side JDXL yet again. They need that counter pick. They need it bad.
Yeah, and I do feel like the draft was better in game 2. I feel like there were more ways for them to potentially play around the team fights, but I mean, especially compared to game 1 where the Twitch just couldn't function, right? And now I wonder if we are going to see a bit more of a handshake on the scaling. I think JDXL need to give themselves more late game options. They've been looking too early into the game, and it's not been they've not been precise enough to land those early game knockout punches. So I think they need to just chill a little bit more, play towards later on.
There you go. Finally, I was going to bring it up. Take away the Zeri.
But now you first pick Severe, and then you kind of force the JDXL to go the Jarvan, right? Or what happens then?
Well, that's the thing. I think maybe you can just say, all right, take that Severe, we will pick that Jarvan. I mean, question is... But I think X7 are a step ahead and say,
we don't care as well.
We don't care. And then if you pick the Sivir, then you lock in the Draven on the other side. And then if you're looking at Tilla's Draven, you're like, I know, that's really dangerous. Yeah, I think this is now, I think X7 are again just ahead in the draft. So you're looking at that Sivir, but I don't even know what you pair that up with now at this point. Do you have to go for the Wukong? I mean, you're already dealing with the Swain, right? You don't really want to go for too many melee divers if you can help it.
Oof. I mean, we said as well that maybe you're kind of forced to pick the Jarvan if you pick the Severe, but you want to pick the Jarvan into the Swain. Once again, it's just going to have a field day if that happens. So, I mean, the thing about JDXL 2 is I wanted them to do this, right? I wanted them to pick the Severe, but if it's like X7, I'm just feeling the tingles. I feel like they have something up their sleeves once again in this game 3.
There you go. They're 1 step ahead on this champion select. So far, it's going to be the mid lane locked in for X7 at this point, 2-0. Everything seems to be in line for them. No matter.
I think the Lulu makes sense because, again, it's not playing into the Swain, but then X7 take away the Jarvan, potentially, and that's obviously what Viking's been very good with that too. And now suddenly you have, if you are going to lock in something which can follow up with, whether it is a Draven, whether it is an Aphelios, something that can throw something into the mix too. As soon as Jarvan zeroes in on the Sivir, who cannot escape that Cataclysm, even with the Lulu helping them out, there's a lot of ability to just clump in the AoE damage into the Cataclysm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of hit the head on the nail there, though. We're telling JDXL, go for the scaling route, right? And I feel like we are, it's good that they are doing it, because they have to keep changing things up when when things are not working out. And I feel like even though X7 are prepared for this, they picked the Swain, they picked the Jarvan, and their fellows as well into the Severe and Lulu. I feel like this could maybe be the third time's the charm. I'm not sure about this one.
You don't pick the Jarvan, you don't pick the jungler on the last rotation before the bans. You're saving the jungler for the counter pick, or you're saving what? Because you already know who's going to be the mid laner.
I think one though thing that we talked about as well in after game 1, we already said that Kreis doesn't really seem like he has this blind pickable top laner.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? You pick on the 3 and you ban two
double
top
ban the
laners.
counters.
Yeah. So I think this is actually a good adaptation for JDXL. I think Dan has so many champions in his pool already. So
because you're already going to get the mid lane counter pick. So instead of having your own champions banned away in the second ban phase, you pick it, you double ban the counters. I think that makes a lot more sense. So it allows Kreis a bit more agency.
Okay.
Oh.
But they are
waiting
to see the entire draft before seeing their mid lane pick. Now, Hecarim is also another scaling option. Hecarim is also a champion that runs into Jarvan, and Jarvan feels pretty sad about life because you can't really duel a Hecarim if you don't have everything available to you. If you use your flag on a camp, you are pretty much just sitting duck for that. But we are switching things over. That is going to be top lane Yone, I believe, into that Gwen.
Oof, I mean, spicy pickups once again. I do feel like, though, we talked so much about how Dan has so much pressure on his shoulders in this best of 5 to be proactive early, to make sure that Venser and Kreis can get to late game on these carries. Now he's playing a carry on his own, and he's playing against really proactive stuff early, like the Jarvan, the Amumu. I feel like while Jarvan can be a sitting duck against the Hecarim, if Hecarim gets invaded early, he's going to be super useless. Nice hover as well. I respect it. I mean, yeah, is this going to be...
Okay.
Okay.
Do I like that LeBlanc?
Oh, good question. Do you?
No, I don't.
Good answer.
Don't you laugh at me, Trouble. I can hear you across the studio. I can hear that. I'm listening to you. But I look at this LeBlanc and I'm like, all right, okay, so maybe you have some ability to have a bit of ability to fight and skirmish a little earlier and hop over walls with a Hecarim, but I don't think it particularly combos up well with a Hecarim early. You're not fighting early. It's not like it's something like a Zhenzhao or a Jarvan, which can be very good in the mid-jungle 2v2. If you get hit by one Never move, you die. If you get hit by one piece of CC in the team fights, you die. And there are way too many things which can catch you out. This is not a free poke LeBlanc game. This is not a great combo game for LeBlanc. I think this is a champion pool thing a little bit, especially if you're getting banned out so much. That's what it smells like to me. If you're putting a couple of bans towards this champion, suddenly you don't have answers. I think XL with that last pick, saving it for mid lane, I don't think they had the pick for the job.
Do or die, Nymana, and I'm looking at you, M-Test. I want to get those predictions. You were wrong on the previous one, so was he. Twitch chat has been 100% correct
He has
so
to
far.
mention that, by the way.
I mean,
he has to.
All the time.
Just let this be forever a moment to realize that you should never go back on your word, never go back on what you wrote. Because I said, if it was going to be 1-0 from X7, it's going to be a 3-0.
Are you going back again, or is it X7?
I mean, the thing is now, I feel.
No, give me the name. Give me the name. Yeah,
X7 is going to be
X7? Okay, what about you?
I think it's very much X7.
Okay, on one side we have X7 looking for the finals with the perfect composition for team fight. On the other side, JDXL are looking for speed. They're looking to run into their enemies. As I'm going to toss to the casters, initialize, and troubling.
What? We're getting sound effects now?
That's incredible.
Made by him? Homemade sound effects only on the NLC.
He's a host. He's also a Foley guy. You know, he just walks around like making... The thing is, this floor is actually so quiet that he makes the footstep noises as we walk around. See, that's him right there. You probably can't hear him as he's stomping on the floor. Welcome, though, to the desk. We have a little bit of fun. And I think it's probably time that we set the stakes for this game. X7 win. They are going to the EU Masters main stage. They are on track to reclaim their crown from Spring, having run all the way from round 1 to the finals, literally taking on every other team
No, man,
on the
it was
way.
easy for G2 in Spring.
They are pulling a bit of a G2 right now, but they've still got to close this series out. And XL got stomped in game 1, but had some competitive moments. Game 2 was really rough. Game 3,
cut the tape.
the analysts were not pleased with the draft from XL. It's looking tough.
Yeah, and I think having played both blue and red side and bleeding from both, and the same thing, the problem has been that bot lane, unfortunately for me, for XL, it has been a bleeding point.
But enough of that. To the Rift we go for what could be our final game of the day. X7 have come to dominate. They have come to do what G2 did all those years ago, and traumatize was the phrase they used. And what a statement that was. The Rift is here. XL must hold on or their playoffs are over.
And I'm gonna go back to that bot lane because I feel, even though it has been a sore spot for JDXL, it has been pretty much a diamond mine for the side of X7, bringing in Attila, bringing in Kasing. We had our worries, we had our questions, losing Nata, having a new pairing with Kasing, and even though Kasing and Attila have previously played together for a long time, over in Superliga as well, the question will always be there when you put a new bot lane together. And I cannot reiterate how much we have criticized the laning phase and the way Kasing was getting caught earlier on in the split and the synergy between Attila and Kasing. But right now in playoffs, it has come together.
And I want to take this moment because we've highlighted Kasing's Renata. On the other side, though, FGG has been arguably the brightest spark for a lot of the engage options, a lot of the playmaking options for XL. Even in that last game, his Rel had some superb moments, and you can see it here in their early game stats.
And I'd like to say the fact that kill participation of 15 is 65% for Kasing. It's not through roaming. Actually, X7 have played flawlessly the 2 versus 2 in the bot lane. Attila and Kasing have caught a bunch of victims in that bot side of the map. And honestly, I'd like to put a little bit of a magnifying glass, if you will, on Kasing, because in this particular series, for the first time, he is on an engaged champion, he is on a roaming champion. He's played the Renata and he's played the Lulu, 2 enchanters that want to keep their AD carry safe and peel off of any threat, if you will. Right here with the Amumu, he's got the chance to create the engage for his team. And why I personally really love this champion in general is because no matter what champion walks into a choke point first, you've got double stun with the Q into ult. Someone either dies or offers low enough HP that you push them out of the fight. And this way, X7 can get a bunch of dragons, which has been their priority for the entire series.
Yeah, and obviously you saw the champion pools there as well. Credit to Kasing, of course, had a lot of champions played, but he's also played more matches, right? Like, there's been a few more series. XL, this is on their second playoffs.
I think that was playoffs, yeah.
Exactly. It's only playoffs. This isn't the whole of the season, just to clarify that. It's not that FGG has literally only played one champion all split. Certainly not true.
Honestly,
and he's on a different one again here.
It's kind of a head-scratcher how versus Dusty, they chose to put FGG on Rakan three times in a row.
Sten's a big Rakan player, I think, part of it.
Sure, but it feels like a lot of the engaged and disengaged came off of the back of FGG and Dan, and I feel like when you have 2 engaged tools and 2 engaged triggers in your team and you take one away, it's a little bit predictable where the other one is going to come from. And right here, the predictability falls onto Dan. He's got the Hecarim, he's going to have the R button, level 6 into the game, and he's going to be the only one engaging into the backline. FGG is going to be there just to heal and shield and keep his carries alive.
And I do want to highlight this as well. So we were saying, look, XL are struggling with just laning. They are losing a lot of things from the lane. We've seen that a few games in a row now, but we were saying, look, Dan has often been the bright spark of this team. So much involved in the early games. Last game around, it was Viking who was dominating the early game.
Chain
Thing is, Dan on this Hecarim, maybe not going to be as active early game as you might like, but maybe he can be more of a carry threat here, even if Viking's got the early playmaking.
I think if you look at the draft so far, it's been the Sejuani into the Wukong, the I can start engages for you, I can be your facilitator, I can be the one that CC locks people and you kill them. Right here, Hecarim falls into the category of Graves, of Udyr, of Nidalee. I'm gonna farm, I'm gonna play a little bit more selfishly, and I'm going to be one of the carries for the team. Now, luckily for JDXL, there's 4 of them on the map for them. You've got the Assassin in the mid lane with LeBlanc, you've got the Gwen towards the top shore of the map. Now, something that I don't particularly really like is when you have an AP or AD Assassin, pairing them up with yet another carry of the same type of damage. So having the Gwen, having the LeBlanc is going to be a little bit easy for X7 to prioritize their magic resist over, so you might see a lot of these MR boots coming through first.
Viking did look for a gank there, but a well-placed ward earlier on, make sure that Viking was spotted out going in there, and Chasey would just take the opportunity to trade and not take too much more out of it. And I largely agree. I also think this is actually a really good setup for the Hecarim game, even if I think X7 have a good comp to play. Kasing waits for one and interrupts the other. Venza will have his spell shield there, though, so not going to be too much more than
Surely not Venza level 3 being
I know.
volatile.
I was getting very nervous there.
But this is a really nice interrupt for Kasing. He actually timed and saw which one of the two, whether it was FTG or Venza, pressed B first, which means that if he saw FTG press B first, he knew that Venza was going to be left behind, which that means that Attila gets to push that lane first. Now, what that gives in turn to X7, it's the first reset. That means Amumu is on the map. Keep eyes on Kasing. He's heading towards that mid lane as Dan has found Viking.
G is there. That roam timing is superb, and Viking went so deep, and now in a dangerous
Where's
position.
Roscoe?
I think he's just going to be first blooded. In goes Kasing, though, to try and turn it around. There's a heal, but there's still a second bandage toss to go. The ignite is on, and they go on to FGG. 10 flashes forward, gets a turnaround. The ethereal chain's there, but there's an ultimate coming through, and that means it's just the 1-for-1. Tempt is on the board, and that is a terrifying statement for all involved.
A little bit of a head scratcher, as in where Roscoe was in this entire chain of events that happened, because we see Kasing on the map, but FTG was the one to reset first due to the fact that he didn't get interrupted by Kasing, which means that Viking engages level 4 to level 5, and of course we mentioned that Dan is more of a carry role right here, so having the Lulu behind him, the heal goes through, the shields go through, and Tempt actually had to flash to capitalize onto that kill. Tempt actually has to use the ult as well, so you would think the second that Dan is now level 6, he will have his eyes into that mid lane together with the LeBlanc.
A lot of summoners pop there, Kasing and FGG down those, both summoners, because Hex Flash means Kasing a little bit more able to still make some of those plays, but Viking and Dan both burned their ghosts as well. Temp burned his, but he's got Spellbook, so he's less worried about burning summoners because he's got a lot to go through.
Absolutely. He will have the ghost available very soon for himself, but again, that's a level 6 Swain that doesn't have a flash, doesn't have an ult. You're playing against a LeBlanc and a Hecarim. So all eyes on when this bar will show level 6 for the Hecarim, because you should be sure that Dan will be hitting twice towards that mid lane.
Eyes on Dan's inventory as well. He's got the Executioner's calling early here, does want that anti-heal. And again, you are into Yone, into Swain, into the Aphelios. Even Jarvan to Stan has a bit of healing to him, especially if he goes for the Gore Drinker build. So, can understand that build.
Very quickly, FTG burned both of his summoners in the previous exchange. And Viking all the way towards the bot side of the map. Of course, he's going to get spotted. Right now, he's getting pinged by the side of XL. But they don't care because they have the push in the mid lane, they have the push in the bot lane. They can actually start the Dragon if they damn well please.
Chasey will go out with the Soul Unbound and times that well with a 3-stacked Mortal Will, and Cries gets chunked out, but of course this is a Gwen, so as long as she gets access to something to snip, we'll heal her way back up to something resembling decent HP totals.
Now all eyes on the map. Level 6 for the Hecarim, level 7 for the LeBlanc. Ultimate's up, there's still no flash for Tempt. He does have his ultimate to gain some more HP and suck away some health from his opponents, but Dan having his eyes over the top side.
Into the Q3 means Chasey can get out without burning any summoners. Was spotting down there, so ultimate is down, but nothing else of note burned by Chasey.
Now there's been an interesting scenario because we expected Cries to actually go toe-to-toe with Chasey towards the top side of the map. We have branded them as the 2 best top laners that we have, actually.
There you go.
Over in the NLC, and the stats speak for themselves. Playoffs, damage percentage, 30.4% for Cries. Remember how we said when MNS had more than 30%, somebody had to step up to do more damage? That somebody has been Cries, but this series, he has just not performed. He's been outclassed on any type of champion he's picked towards the top side of the map. He's had red side back-to-back, hasn't been able to contain Chasey, no matter whether that's a Fiora, a Gragas, or in this case, I was about to call it the Broken Blade, but it's not. It's a Yone.
No, it does feel a little bit synonymous with Broken Blade these days, who does feel like the premier Yone top player around about now.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Zeus do it once or twice over in the LCK as well. But yes, feels like a Broken Blade special, and Chasey definitely feeling like another one of those players down in the ERL levels. And what a glow up he's had as well from his entry into the league, where he was a good mechanical player on things like the Jace, but was really struggling to convert that into map leads or even being respectful of the map often, and that's really turned around as the split's gone.
I think he's also been given a bit of freedom, right? To be able to pick his Gragases, his Yones, his Fioras, the top of the map, Camille, Jace, Sejuani, Ornn, whatever he wants to play, he has been given it, and he's actually performed. Dan's looking for Kasing.
Shadows, but there's no ultimate for Kasing, and he's taken pretty low. Remember, doesn't have the flash, does have the ignite, there's the heal, and there's a Severum crescendo, meaning Kasing gets out for the safety. Viking flashing, looking to get in, and still dies to Kasing. Not sure what to there. Must have been the burn on the smite.
I think it must have been the smite coming in from Dan. I'm not sure because it felt like Kasing was out. His flash was barely up and available as well. Barely had the flash to get out, but Viking does end up burning his summoner to try and get into this fight. Venza also burns flash, so you will know that the second Viking and that bot lane actually resets, they might actually have their sights onto Venza, who has been the target for X7 this entirety of the series. And very rightly so. The bot lane for XL has been a volatile bot lane. They've been dived multiple times. Sometimes it goes well, but most of the times it doesn't. They're not able or allowed to even bounce back into the game. And X7 have made sure when they put them down, they keep them there. And with a dragon coming up, you damn sure know that X7 have their sights on a flashless Sivir.
Absolutely, and I do want to talk about this as well because Viking's on the early game jungler. He's on the Jarvan, has got involved with one kill, and that was a turnaround, right? Dan on the other side, on the Hecarim, has been the playmaker. He's also the one with the lead, and like, don't get me wrong, Hecarim farms faster than Jarvan, pretty notably so, because you just get to press Q on everything, all the camps die.
Here's the thing, I agree with that, but Hecarim is more of a farmer, and he farms fast, yes. But I don't think I've seen the same proactivity from Viking than I saw him on the Rek'Sai. It feels like he's that much more comfortable on a champion like Rek'Sai to play that early game. But right here, you do not necessarily have to make these early game plays with the Jarvan because your Failure scales, your Swain scales, your Yone scales. Later on, you can just lock up Sivir into a cage and then allow Yone and Swain and Failures to pile up on there, have a Mumu go in, and then you just release rage upon them. I think one of our questions has been Dan and Kryze need to step up. They're the two veterans. Kryze always getting the carries towards the top side of the map, but Dan has been stuck on facilitators because everyone else wants to carry. This time, he is on a carry of his own. This time, he's an entire almost level up on Viking, and he's playing the heck. He's got 2 kills. He's got his first item already completed. So we're looking to see where his next victim lies and where he thinks he can pull the trigger.
Good use of the W there from Kryze, forces an ult out as Kryze ults in turn, and that means both top players down those critical ults. It's been a trade of that quite regularly. Lead us to a dragon take, though, from X7. We're using this opportunity maybe to come down here, but there is Dan with ultimate and a Lulu to back him up. There's a world where he could go and try and steal this.
Venzer has 0 mana, though, and no flash, remember? So walking into this choke point, into a very narrow space versus a Jarvan, versus a Swain, versus an Amumu as well with ultimate would be grim times for Venzer. And I love that you mentioned Kryze towards the top side of the map, because look again at the CS discrepancies. 20 behind for Kryze, 20 behind from Roscu, 10 to 20 behind almost for bot lane. I think that lane domination for X7.
Over the wall they go, they'll charge him back, but Dan's going to try and keep pace. If it hits everyone else, he's quite alone here, but he'll only get out an ignite from Kasing. It was a worthy attempt to prevent that third plate going down at least, but that's all it does for now. Some gold into the inventory of Attila to help him get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, because remember, Venza had no mana, so he had to reset to walk back. And because X7 knew that they actually used that window in space to get some more gold onto Attila. Attila right now in a more of a hyper carry late game role with that Aphelios scaling towards his later stages of the game. One Moonlight Vigil could actually obliterate the side of JDXL. And again, I think we're looking at that Hecarim. What can you do? How much can you snowball that lead? Yes, you're ahead right now. You have an item on. But so far, there hasn't been many ultimates that have hit the mark.
Yeah, I can understand why he burns that one there at least, because there's no dragon, there's no herald to fight for.
Maybe
so
you get a flash.
You can, and it's like, if I'm going to burn this ult defensively, now's not a bad time to do it. You spotted something, I know that noise.
Yeah, there was a ping top lane. I don't know if it was Kryze or Dan pinging it, but they're like, this Yone, right here, this Yone needs to die. There is no ultimate on Kryze. They need to wait a few seconds, and there's also a ward that's going to spot the Hecarim going through that tri-bush. There's also a control ward over in the other bush as well. So,
I will say this now as well. The way Yone walks with his swords is the most anime thing available, I swear.
Okay.
What do you got for me?
It's the first time I'm seeing Venzer respect the pressure on the opposite side of the map.
Wow!
And credit where credit is due. He's going to wait because he knows he has absolutely 0 vision on the side of the map. He's going to wait for Phyllis to take that tower. And then he's going to walk back and start clearing that. Oh,
gonna try and chase it, but over here comes Kasing. There's the fade seal. The turnaround's pretty good. Kasing's around as well. FGG's going to pop the Shirelli to try and get on out of here. So ult for ult trade, but Viking's coming as well. And now there is a blast cone, but Kryze has to be a touch afraid here. How aggressive do X7 want to be? They'll just throw down the ward, and it'll be ult for ult trade as Chasey was trying to be cheeky to steal that.
I think it's just really funny how every time Roscoe engages on temp, he like slightly tickles him.
Yep.
And you see like barely any HP bar move onto tempt, and I'm like,
that was
all good and dandy, but usually with the LeBlanc, you want to be poking huge amounts of HP bars away, and this LeBlanc has not had any big impact in the early games. He's not to be feared of, And also, this is not a Luden's Echo, which means your
Leandri's game.
poke is going to be going down, which means you're playing more for the sustained damage rather than, oh, I'm going to poke you so low that you can't rejoin the fight.
Yeah, and that was something that Des brought up. I'm glad you brought it up again as well, because this is not an easy LeBlanc game. I know it's a comfort champ from Roshku, but this isn't a game where you go, aha, I blow this target up super easily. So many ways to pick you off, you dive forwards.
This is not Assassin LeBlanc, this is Control Mage LeBlanc.
Exactly, and of course LeBlanc has since changed away from that old Assassin's rework with the weird charge-up Sigil of Malice madness that was really awkward and clunky and surprisingly busted. But all the same, still feels like a very difficult game from Roshku to find the right angles.
Ooh, and look at that. Now that Tempt is the only AP damage profile on his team, he's not going to go towards the Mandate. He's going to go towards one of proper mage AP mythic items. 3 versus 3 topside.
On the hunt, Dan is stumped, but he's just got so much damage. Flash for the ultimate from Kasing means you can try and turn this round into 1-for-none right now. Viking taken pretty low, but Tempt's there to blow up Venza. Viking escaping, Tempt still being a nightmare as Chasey is here as well. He's polymorph, but I don't know for how long. Dan's got nowhere to go, no ghost, no hope, as he will devastating charge into a double kill for Swain. Demon beats Cavalry.
Miscalculation of the teleports. Roshku didn't have his to join the fight. On the other hand side, Chasey does his to join. So the side lane assignments from JDXL do not make sense right now. You're starting the fight at Herald. You're barely killing Kasing. And then what? You're losing so many members. FTG in trouble, Cry's in trouble. There's 3 members of X7 chasing Cry's and FTG down. Cry's no flash.
He got knocked out of his skip and slash as well, so he doesn't even get a dodge further forwards. Chasey will take him out with a Q3, and that's another kill going on. Let's see this replay, because this feels like a game breaker.
And look both sides of the map as well while we're looking at this. Kasing is going to sacrifice his life, but he catches Venzer. And Venzer with Cleanse and his own spell shield, by the way. This Severe does not get to fight in these choke points. And by the time XL are pushing everyone into the choke from X7, again, Chasey's here on the flank. And Roshku, we've not seen him participate this entire game. I wish we had like one of these damage graphs to see how much damage his champion has done in this game, because I think Roshku has probably done less damage than FTG this game.
Does feel a little bit that way. FGG's trying. It's been a pretty good Lulu performance. He's been around the map. He's tried to make things there. Held that roam early on was what got first blood for JDXL. But honestly, the Hecarim hasn't found the target access to the right people. You've hit a Swain and an Amumu that fight. You didn't hit the Aphelios. You didn't hit something like the Yone, and that made things pretty tricky as the fight went longer.
Now, all eyes on this dragon, because X7 could pile up in a choke point, and when you do have Severe, we all know what can happen. Chaser right here doesn't have his ultimate to get out. Love Crush ultimate's missing from X7.
Viking has got a Cataclysm, and that makes things a bit tricky. Chasey gets a little chunk there, but on the other side, Sing lands a stun onto Cry. He's been taken very low. The turnaround comes through to try and collapse on the Gwen, who gets some healing and gets rid of a Mumu down to the backside. This time the combo's feeling a bit better, but the Fate Seal on the other side. Chasey on this Yone's a nightmare. Viking will clean up Dan. Chasey will run down Venza. There is nowhere to go. A Vision of Empire to make sure it's a triple. A Ricochet brings him out. But Yone does not go down quietly. This top laner from the LTK Challengers on another level.
And flashback to game number 1. Let me remind you of the third ban of JDXL in the first rotation. It was the Sway. And ever since that ban got taken off the rotation and anything else got added in from JDXL, Tempt has insta-locked it, and he's been an absolute nuisance, as you'll see here. This is an X7 that are missing a bunch of ultimates right here. If you look at the bot side, no Chasey ult, no Aphelios ult, and yet Venzer has the perfect choke point to start DPS, and he walks back. Not a single auto attack, whilst Tempt is safeguarding his entire team with his body, allowing Chasey to find that access into the backline. And again, it doesn't matter how many resources Dan on this Hecarim has gotten in the early game. He's diving in the backline, but he's diving alone. There's no LeBlanc follow-up, there's no Ricochets, there's no Gwen.
Not this time, and X7 come up with another teamfight victory. They get themselves the dragon. They're on
6,000 gold.
6,000 gold. And it's all in some scary places. There's the Leandris now on the Swain, burning through a lot of those health bars. You're looking at near enough that Immortal Shield Boat likely coming in second for Chasey as well, after he picked up a lot of those early kills. And yes, you've got that Chempunk Chainsaw, you've got a little bit of healing reduction, but I just don't think it's enough at this point.
I don't think the healing is what is hindering right now JDXL. I feel we commended their team fighting and the way they approached team fights and the different angles they took versus Dusty. Even though they brought 2 or 3 different compositions, they always found their way around the team fights. XL seem to be falling apart in the seams, and X7 are not letting go. X7 is a team that when they will get ahead, they will not give you any any inch to breathe in this game. And it
Oh,
seems
my
to be the
days.
case in this one as well, as they start the Baron 20 minutes in. Straight as the Baron spawns, Teep is
was
going to
on
be
bot
tunneled by
side.
Cries.
Down to about 8,000 HP. It's not the fastest Baron ever, but now they're trying to turn this one around. Cries won't get caught, and actually X7 decide they don't have the DPS to make that one work.
But remember what happened last time. XL could not match a TP, and right now Cries just lost his. Luckily for XL, Chasey did have to use his to start burning down the Baron as well and be there for a potential fight. But last time XL could not match with a teleport. They lost a 4 versus 5.
Bloodthirst is just complete for Attila. That one's going to come through as well. I wonder whether Chasey on reset should have his as well when he takes a hold of this wave. I suspect he'll be pretty close to that second item as well. But at this point, I feel like JDXL, they must find the absolute mother of all wombo combos, probably with the Hecarim leading the charge.
I don't know what the wombo combo is though here. I don't see a Rel on FTG. I see a Lulu. Unfortunately, any angle that Venzer has taken on the map, it's caused him to not be able to play the game right here. He loses his flash to a very simple flag and drag from Viking. And the Cataclysm, yes, but sure, next time Viking will have his flash available, he can flash, flag and drag, and get Venzer onto this backline. I feel like X7 are just playing better League of Legends in this particular series, and it's actually showing.
On the hunt, Singh might be a very sad move, throws down the ultimate, but he's going to potentially be left out to dry. Has been a few times this game. And X7, a little bit split, do lose their support.
Okay, that is one member off the map. Kasing has had a target on his back, the poor
He knows what his role is this game.
Yeah, his role is to literally be the bait right here, but unfortunately for Kasing right there, he didn't have much of his team. So whether he pressed his ultimate, his buttons or not, it didn't really matter because he got singled out so quickly and he ended up going down so quickly. Now this is yet another kill that's going to the side of Venzer. Venzer has so much responsibility on this severe. 3, 2, and 3. Yet again, in terms of KDA and scoreline, he is ahead of Attila. Attila has been bunching up a lot of these assists. Venzer has been getting a lot of these kills.
Don't know whether Dan wants this, but he's got a smite to make that a little easier. We got ourselves 30 seconds until a soul 0.5. 30 seconds until X7 might be on the verge of victory. A team fight win here likely breaks the game. A team fight here puts JDXL down that Baron potentially as well. They must look to contest the next objective somewhere.
And mind you, when that Baron goes down, you're playing against a LeBlanc, a Gwen, a Hecarim. They have to walk really up close and personal to that minion wave. Only Sivir is there for that huge wave clear, but you can't wave clear 2 lanes at once. So once X7 have gotten this Baron, then it will be really easy for them to siege 2 towers at once, and XL will not have many answers to both lanes. XL are split here.
And onslaught of shadows across 4, but he's knocked up, and he's going to have to go golden Attila. Flashes over the wall to the Moonlight Vigil. He's got Chakram, goes down, but he'll trade his life well as Vander dies as well. On the other side, Tempt is a monster once more. Kasing will get jumped on by Mirage Cube, but he doesn't quite have the damage. Cries gets it. On the other side, actually, they're winning it. They're going to get everybody. Tempt is here. Chasey hasn't got around, though, and the solo lanes from X7 are just so damn scary. And Never Move is going to surely do a lot of work. Chasey to the backside, over the wall with Soul unbound, shuts down Dan. Temp goes gone, avoids the snip. There's the fate sealed. Cries trying to heal up. Cries will shut down Tempt, but he's still to be traded back, and now it's the mid laners alone surviving. Chasey is going to make himself known. They're going to try and do the best. Mirage Q lands the ethereal chains, and we'll get out for dodge for now.
It's a 1-for-1. When it comes to, in terms of people staying alive on the map, it's a 1-and-1 because everyone else dies. I think this is the best scenario that you get if you're the Hecarim, getting that 4-man ult straight into the backline. Venzer dies, but takes with you Attila, and that is so important. The 2 AD carries trading their lives right here. As you will see, JDXL with a pretty beautiful flank right here. That Hecarim on a 4-man ult, and the fact that Attila is separated from his team does wonders for them. Another big important thing is that Chasey did not have teleports. So for how close this fight was when Chasey is not present, you can see how far behind XL are actually falling into this game. And mind you, Swain, Tempt was not touched this fight. He could actually keep carrying on, tanking 3 members of XL, because once your burst is used from the LeBlanc and from the Hecarim, you don't have much more to follow up.
No, and that's the problem. That 4v5 is still scary. They're going to try and dive into the mid lane, though. That's Dan pulling the trigger. Attila throws down the Sentinel turret, but he's getting healed up with the Wild Growth, staying alive for now. He's back out. On the other side, Bender is dead. Cries will claim the life of Attila, but he's going to get another. My God, this Gwen does what she can, but at the side, Chasey's already killed off the Hecarim. Cries knocked up. Fate Seal takes him down. And now Mirage Q and FGG are the only ones remaining.
They can actually go all the way to Baron. There is Smite up for Viking, and one of the two carries from the side of X7 can actually stay outside of the pit to stop Mirage from coming in, because the burst from LeBlanc with Q and R is going to be huge.
Never move into that. Visions of Empire comes down. Visions of Empire, what a name that is. X7 have built one in the NLC this year. X7 looking to build a road to the finals, to look to reclaim their crown and prove why they are the ones that rule over everyone here in the NLC. Dusty look on and try and work out who they will be fighting. Course, it looks like X7. Of course, it looks like XL have got nothing left to say. And despite Dan's heroics on the Hecarim, feels like they're out of options.
One-man army is not going to carry you the game when Tempt has not lost lane in 3 games, when Chasey has not lost lane in 3 games, when Viking plays his role perfectly, no matter if he's put on an early game aggressor or somebody who's facilitating fights. And again, these 2 Koreans for X7. We keep talking about 2 Koreans for X7. It was Harold last split. It is Chasey now in the top lane. Tempt remains the same. They've not lost lane, they've dominated whatever type of champion you gave them, they've shined on. And honestly, I'm tipping my hat to Chasey because we had so many questions with him coming into the split, but now it seems to have been given the opportunity, to have been given the development, to have been given the freedom to shine.
2.5 minutes until what will be Ocean Soul. They've got Baron to their name, and X7 can look to put the final nails in this coffin and make sure JDXL are left 6 foot deep in the dirt. This rivalry was supposed to be potentially a close one, but XL still in this rebuilding phase, still trying to make Mirage Q work, and X7 just proved they've still got some ways to go. That might include EU Masters. A run through play-ins is what XL are facing down right now.
And XL, remember, if there's multi-seeds from multiple lanes, you only have Sivir to wave clear. Right now, if you look at mid lane, Chasey's pinging them up. He's trying to push that mid lane wave to try and sync it with the bot lane wave. There are 2 cannon minions that are bound up on the bot lane wave. So by the time these crash and by the time XL actually clear them up, that mid lane wave is just about to crash in as well. So really nice syncing right there from X7.
Price goes forward, throws down the Hallowed Mist, but I don't think that's going to save him for much longer. Temp's taken pretty low.
Woo!
Maybe that's an appropriate type matchup considering he's a demon in lanes. There's the Fate Seal, but into the backside goes Kasing! 4-man curse of the Sad Mummy! Eviscerates them all! And now Attila can start running through them all afterwards as well. Over the wall he goes. Onslaught running, Gravitum there, and the moon will come crashing down with a button. Q pressed and down goes Venza. FGG, the Lulu, is all that's left. And just like that, it's 3-0. The rivals are decapitated. And Dusty must prepare themselves because X7 coming to the end of this split. Oh, so angry. Beware the team spurned. Our spring champions are not done in the league quite yet.
It was never XL's game to win, because history says that X7 are right now, this year, 6-1 versus XL. The odds never favored. The British org and X7 are running away with everything. And honestly, congratulations on the main stage of EU Masters for X7. They're going back very strong. And honestly, I'm really happy that Dusty and X7 look so freaking strong, because going towards that main stage, then Voksne said it from Dusty as well, you cannot afford, there's just 6 games, you cannot afford to misstep.
They take down their rivals from Spring in Bifrost. They take down Riddle, a team that looked so good at the beginning of this play. They take down XL, the other big rivals, and now they go on to face Dusty.
The second academy, man, don't forget Astralis.
Of course. Astralis, of course. What am I doing? I'm mad. Astralis are out there as well.
Denmark.
Never mind that. I completely forgot, because of course Astralis, not Riddle. I'm a mess. The best will take it away from here.
Take it, boys.
At the top of the mountain, we have Dusty and X7. We still need to figure out who's going to be the winner of Summer Split, who's going to be the best team in Summer Split NLC. We also get to know the 2 teams that are now going from main stage EU Masters. There we go, Dusty and X7. And just like Trouble pointed out, it was never JDXL game to win. It was always about X7. And as you pointed it out, and I love that one, we need to celebrate excellency.
Yeah, you have to really celebrate that because we now have this team, X7, going back to the main stage of Amazon EU Masters, and they're going back actually with a fair amount of confidence, I'd imagine. I was saying this in the green room while we were watching that last game play out. I really think if Tempt and Chasey play the way they did, other ERL solo laners are going to be scared. I think they're going to have to look up to these two and go, all right, how do we deal with these? Maybe we do need to draft counter picks. Maybe we can't rely on these blind picks, much like XL couldn't today. And they were looking really scary.
Instead of the game, they were perfect to begin with. And when you look into the draft, they were also looking really clean, always one step ahead of all teams.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this last game, right? We see the Swain coming in as a first pick, which is, I mean, not unheard of, but it's really rare that we get to see this. And they kind of feel like they kind of knew already what JDXL wanted to go for. JDXL, actually, respect to them, they threw 3 different plans in X7's face. But X7 showed diversity. They show that they can take a punch and still come out on top. And I mean, what a way to do it.
3 punches and they were not movable. That was something to behold throughout the day.
Oh, that 3-punch man, the new superhero coming to Story Nation.
A weird story of origin, as we need to highlight who is going to be the MVP of the day. Well, it's up to you. We're going to throw you 3 chances. There you go. It's going to be either Chasey, Viking, or Tim. The top 3 of the map. Gami, why are they picked?
Well, first off, just before we get to that, do you feel bad for Attila? Because Attila also had a good series. And I also think Attila was the best player of the series the last time, though Tempt actually won it. So while Attila's not on that, that's kind of like an honorable mention. But these 3 absolutely deserve to be there. I think Viking, as you said, heard us talking smack about those stats, came out with that Rek'Sai game and a couple of others and just really put his name on the board. And the solo laners, didn't matter what matchups he gave them, whether you had counter pick or not, they were just hammering XL.
Yeah, I mean, I just completely agree with you, right? I think speaking about Viking as well, we said before that he doesn't have to carry for X7 because they have such strong laners, they can just play through them. But when the opportunity rises and he does manage to get that Rek'Sai pick, I mean, man, he popped off. He completely carried that game. I mean, that one fight where he just one-shot Venser, that's what I like to see from my man.
Not a good sign of X7 saying to every single team at EU Masters, every player can actually carry. So, West tread lightly as we jump to the interview with Kasing that is joining us today after getting into finals. There you go. The smile is back, Kasing. Okay, let's start this one. Clean sweep from X7 versus JDXL. Did you expect this today when you woke up?
I want to say yes, because I just felt like based on our scrims and how we've been playing lately, it's actually been going really, really well. I feel like we've been improving a lot because our goal isn't just to win against JDXL, right? Not even just about winning NLC. Of course, it would be nice. But in the end, it's all about just doing well at EU Masters because obviously top 8, I've been top 8 for like 4 times in my career, 5 times. I've never been more than that. But that's my main goal anyway. And I'm trying my best to make sure that we can get further.
So I'm not going to ask the really bland follow-up question of, oh, how do you feel you're going to do EU Masters? I'm sure you're going to come in prepared as best you can. But part of that preparation is going to be adapting to the new patch because we're on 12.13 for NLC, right? And then we're moving forward onto, you know, like a couple of patches beyond that for EU Masters. Now, even some of the very best teams in Europe have spoken about how the meta has changed a little bit outside of what they were expecting. So we're seeing a little bit more scaling come into it. Seemed like today you had a great read on what you wanted to do. Do you think you can do that on the new patch?
I think we'll be more than ready for the new patch. Personally, because I personally really like the new patch just because I feel this whole scalability that most games go later. This is, in my opinion, my comfort zone. I feel like I'm always going to be better at the enemy, at team fighting. That's just always my own opinion, and I'm confident about that.
Oh, you might even get to see Pantheon either on the jungle or the support, Kasing. Maybe. You're the only one missing on that one. No, I'm kidding. One question that I really want to make to you specifically was, this is a good feeling for you guys, for X7, the way you guys are playing right now. But it was not always that way throughout the early of the split. You went through a difficult phase right now. How is the synergy in the team? How are you guys feeling as well between each other, like as players and whatever is developing inside?
I think the best part is just right now, we actually are on the same page in terms of like how we want to play the map. And I think this is super important when it comes to before even going to a game, right? Because if you're going to the game and you have 2 people or 3 people with like kind of different ideas of how to play, how are you going to expect everyone to be on the same page once we get to it? So at the moment, it's more like, you know what, I'm really, really happy. Compared to obviously a few weeks ago when I was really depressed, guys. And I appreciate all your messages, of course. So thank you guys so much. Yeah.
Final
should
question
really
for you.
flame him some more. Yeah, just this is too positive. Oof.
Yeah, true.
No, we went outside of the show like DM. Hey, Kasing, we need to talk. And test.
I have to ask you, Kasing. I mean, we've been kind of just, having a bit of fun with talking about Viking stats. I mean, they were not looking good, right? The KDA, the damage per minute, blah, blah. But I wanted to ask you personally, like, what do you think Viking does so well? What does he, like, bring to the team in terms of maybe communication or positive atmosphere? What is it about Viking that he does so well?
I think, okay, first of all, right, he's like 6'10" or something like that. Like, he's a giant. In a way, he's like a glue for the team, in my opinion. Because not only, like, first of all, I'm not here to say Viking is not good at all. I think he's actually one of the best pickups that we've had. Literally was reason for why we're doing so well. It's just I feel like he's been kind of gluing the whole team together when it comes to our solo lanes, right? Because it's like, obviously with Koreans, it's like their English isn't so good in terms of like just talking in game whilst also focusing on the game. Whereas Viking kind of comes in and talks for them and actually helps them out, not just assumes that, they don't say anything, therefore I'm not going to say anything. This is not how it should work, right? Okay. It's a team game in the end. You should all be helping each other.
And this is why I think as a unit. Yeah, the unit is looking clean right now and keep climbing the mountain, Kasing. It's up to you versus Dusty. Let's see who comes on top of that one. Can you give me like predictions? What's going to happen on this Saturday?
The thing is, right, I like Dusty as a team. I feel like some of them are actually might be really, really good. And they deserve to also show, their skill when it comes to the E-Masters. I want to say 3-2, but obviously we'll see what happens, right? I just hope for it to be a good game.
Okay, let's hope for the best game ever. Thank you so much for this interview, and I'll see you soon. Best of luck.
Thank you, Eamon.
There you go. They're feeling comfortable. They have that synergy with the team. And I like the idea of it's not because someone is not talking that nobody should be talking. We should all be talking, bringing these ideas. And you see how they work. Sometimes you see those team fights where it seems like it's not going X7. And out of a sudden, boom, they click.
I mean, we saw it in the video as well, right? With Tempt and with Chasey, they just seem like they're just having fun and they're really comfortable with the guys. Even though there is for sure going to be a language barrier, you're seeing them having fun and them being happy. I mean, that's what I like to see.
When someone with 105 kilos says to you, engage, you engage. Nah, you go in. You don't care if it's going to be a gray screen.
Yes, Viking. Thank you, Viking.
Okay, now we need to toss it to the other side. We need to understand with Dan is waiting for the interview. What's happening? What can we expect? Welcome to the interview, Dan.
Hello.
Okay, there he is. Oh, you're growing the beard. Okay, I'm proud of you, man. To begin with, I'm proud of you.
I can't do as well as you, I'm sorry, but I'll try.
It's something, man. It's something. It all starts somewhere. Okay, let's talk about this series. It was a complicated one. It seemed like they always were one step ahead. How difficult was to draft versus X7?
Well, I think game one we shot ourselves in the foot a little bit by not banning Fiora. I think we could have played to top really easily and actually probably blown the game open. But I think our main mistake today was just ourselves. We didn't play our own identity until like game 3. And we spoke about this after game 2, and we did try to adapt the best we could. And X7 obviously did a little bit better than Dusty in terms of identifying how we play. But I think we fell into the same trap as Astralis. Astralis also wavered from their style, and we did the same. I think we should have come in a bit better prepared, to be honest, based on what we saw Astralis do. We should not have fallen into the same trap.
And that's the big question. I was looking into the games like, this is not the JDXL we've seen versus Astralis. This is not the same team. This is not the same team. I saw you guys play versus Dusty. You did such an amazing run. And all of a sudden, I'm left with a question. Do you think the time you have between now and play-ins is going to be enough to glue the team back together?
Yeah, I think so. I think, honestly, the extra experience from playoffs has helped us as a team. We picked up, obviously, 2 maps against Dusty. We looked pretty good. I even think games 1 and 3 today, we looked pretty decent despite the failure in draft in game 1. So I just think we come in a little bit more prepared, maybe add like another identity, and we're fine. But I think, yeah, we'll have a good showing in the Masters.
Okay.
So there's obviously a lot of awareness in what you're saying there, and it's very kind of, I guess, heads up to kind of look at this game and actually go, okay, these are the pinpoints which really kind of made a lot of difference here. Over the course of the whole split, though, of course, it's not over yet. You still got to do Masters for sure. But is there anything in particular you're taking away from this split of NLC as like a particular learning point? Because a lot has happened for you.
I think that's actually a very hard question to answer. I think
that's why I asked it.
the way our team imploded mid-split was like completely new to me. I guess dealing with roster change mid-split is also something pretty new. I think we just had to work on integrating Morozko a bit better and figuring out our style. I think we've done that now, but I think we did it a little bit too late, and we should have done it in like the first week or two of like towards the end of the regular season. I think we're getting there, but I think we just come in a bit one-dimensional right now. So I think main learning is to just reset the team from the beginning when you make a roster change and like just rebuild from stage one, basically.
You gave me an answer, I think it was 1 week or 2 weeks ago, when you said, we are relearning on how to play League of Legends with this composition. It has to be a focus on every single lane, so it's going to take a sweet time. And I'm telling you, the progress you guys made has been astonishing. So regardless of what happens in the future, I think you guys are going to kill it on EU Masters and get out of play-ins. Big question for you, Dan. You played versus Dusty. You played versus X7. Give me predictions.
Oh, okay. I think if Dusty show up and actually play the game, they will win.
Yeah.
But I think in our series, Dusty didn't really do anything. They just had like very straightforward comps and just kind of outscaled us and were better on being on Drakes. I think X7 will win. I think if we repeated and played against Dusty, we would win as well. So I think it just depends if Dusty actually play the game, they will win. If they don't play the game, they will lose.
All right, asking him to step up then. All right, there you go. Well, Dusty, if you're out there, listen in. That's some good advice.
Just play the game, man.
Just play the game. Dan, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon, I know of that. And best of luck through these weeks in between play-ins. Have a nice one.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
The wave.
It's so important.
Not that wave, the wave. Okay, guys? Okay, the vote is still going on for the MVP, so go on to Twitter and vote on who do you think is the MVP of the series of today, X7 versus JDXL. But before you make that vote, might as well look into how they play throughout the day with the play of the day by MasterCard. Oof. Show me.
Okay, right. Yeah, this one's great because now we could have chosen any plethora of team fights, right? But this one was just a really good dive from X7. This is about as clean as it gets. I mean, it's gotten a lot harder to dive over the last season of League of Legends, but this was just, as MTES kind of pointed out at the time, just about as perfectly as you can play it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for sure they were just going to be happy with one kill, getting to denying the farm, but they actually go back into it, and I think as well, as we mentioned before, Kasim got the stopwatch.
I confirmed just now. I went really close to the screen like...
Tristana kill, and he actually managed to get that perfect time. He managed to tank as well. I mean, just like pixel perfect dive from X7. Really.
That's the units they were talking about, the way they play as a team, the way that someone makes the call. And I know that one was like saying, hey guys, I got the clock. We can go in again. We can get 2 kills instead of 1. Best package. That's the best deal so far. So might as well take 2 for the price of 1. So really good execution from X7 for you boys. Okay, we're looking at X7 and Dusty. You didn't play versus any of those, but I want to get your take on that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, actually, we're only allowed opinions if we actually played against the teams. I mean, it's a real problem. We should probably just get XL onto the broadcast.
Oh, you know what? I've seen you play, and you actually play good.
You could. That was a prime chance for him to throw me under the bus because I know I've had some... Anyway, but like going on to the finals, right? Because I think it is looking like an X7-sided matchup right now. I think it is on Dusty to step up. If we see Peak Dusty, it'll be a close series. If we see Peak Dusty versus Peak X7, I still think X7 pips it to the post. I think it'll be a 3-2 if both teams turn up, but Dusty really need to work to get ahead of the game.
5 games. What about you, MTES?
Well, I do really respect that opinion. I think X7 is looking super strong. I do think if Dusty, as Dan mentioned, shows up on the day, I think the Voksne had such a lackluster performance in their last best of 5. I think if they show up on the day and can take just 1 game away from X7, I think maybe X7 doesn't really know how to handle a loss. And they have not been in that situation before. I'm just going to stay true to my beliefs. I think Dusty's going to take it.
Now you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, because the Twitch chat did it for themselves and they got 100% of all predictions so far. I don't know what's happening on the Twitch chat. Our Twitch chat is just 500 IQ. Talking about that, you guys voted for the MVP. 1 vote of difference. Viking takes it.
That's good, though.
Because when Viking tells you, vote for me, you vote for him.
Yes, Viking. Thank you, Viking.
Do you guys agree with the chat?
I think Viking had a great series. I think there's no wrong answer for this, right? I would have voted for Chasey. I think Chasey did a really good job of making sure that XL could not play around what has been a very consistent lane for them in Crysis top lane. Chasey just Torok, that top lane. You couldn't blind pick against him. You, even when you had like a counter pick, couldn't end up like exploiting those matchups. He had a wonderful series. And I think for me, that was the real kind of like backbreaker for XL in their identity.
Yeah, and I mean, I think their top side, the whole top side of X7 played super well, like all through all the 3 games. What I do respect about Viking still, though, is that he is not scared to pick the Rek'Sai. He is not scared to go in and be the carry for his team. And as well, I mean, I might be I'm just a tiny bit biased, right? Because I don't have a Swedish team to cheer for, but I do have my Swedish players. So I have Viking for sure. You deserve today, man. Go get it.
Okay, kind of biased, but doesn't matter. Let's show the bracket to see where we stand right now. It's the last game of the entire split. We started with X7 versus Bifrost. It took them down 3-1. Bifrost showed signs of life. They fought back, but it was not enough. Astralis did a really good example of what they could bring to the stars with a 3-1 versus Riddle. Then it was Dusty versus JDXL. We got 5 games out of these series. It was amazing. JDXL almost took the cake if they didn't lose the first one. X7 versus Astralis, it was not any sort of questioning. X7 was way too powerful. Attila was a beast, and today it's the same thing yet again. JDXL lost 3-0 versus X7, which means at the top of the mountain we have Dusty versus X7. It's going to be on the 20th of this month, which translates into Saturday. We have a little bit longer in between those games to make sure both teams are ready to kick it off on the best of 5. It's going to be the finals. How are you guys feeling?
It's also time for us to get ready for our big show as well. Spice things up a little. I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, final words, because I got you on the desk, I got you back on the desk. So I don't think I'm going to see you on the desk anymore this split. You the same, because I think you're going to be doing something else.
I'll be there.
M-Test, final words of the day.
I mean, man, today was such a fun one. Like, I think we're gonna, this Saturday, I think we're gonna have one of the best of 5s that we had in the entire league for such a long time. I mean, I think it's going to be so close, but I'm going to say it again. I think Dusty's going to take it home, man. But I had so much fun today.
So you think it's going to be 5 games?
Yeah, 5 or 4. Maybe Dusty takes it home.
If we get a 3-0, I'll go to Sweden and I'll bite your ankles, man. What about you?
I think it should be close. I think that, you know, the tenacity that both of these teams have shown now and that, like, upper level has been very impressive. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a good series, and you should hope for that too, and you should definitely watch.
It's going to be on Saturday, and we kept talking about this constantly every single end of the show. Keep climbing the mountain, and we finally get to the top of it. Only one king can rule over the NLC. It's in between Dusty and X7. And until Saturday, we don't know who's going to take it. So be with us on Saturday. I'll see you soon. Keep climbing the mountain.